So a super common task I get, I think it's almost once a week these days. Somebody will give me a spreadsheet, ask me to load it into the database and update some records for it. So I'm gonna go through that task just so I can share it with you guys and can get familiar with it because it must be pretty valuable because it gets asked every week. So all this spreadsheet it's got a VIN number and then a GL number, and so what they want me to do is go in and update all the records in a table and assign these GL numbers according to the VIN numbers. So that's it. That's the task. I'm going to bring up the connection to SQL Server, and I already went through all this, but I'm going to import the table. So make sure I got this dropped. Okay, now I'm going to re-import the table. So what you need to do is you need to go into SSMS, find the database you want to load that spreadsheet into. You go to tasks, and I'm going to import a flat file, which is a CSV that I just loaded. So that's going to be this table right here, and I need to name it according to how I've got the script going here. So I'm going to name this a stage for a staging table, VIN, and then GL number. And so, there's one other thing I need to do because I noticed it failed the first time was because there was, I need to allow nulls because there's some rows in the spreadsheet that have null VINs. We're not going to do anything with those, but I still need to be able to load them. Otherwise, it'll fail. So now I've got the table loaded, so I've got that spreadsheet in the database. We'll just take a look. We'll get a count for how many rows. So we got 20,000 rows, 623. And then, like I said, there were some nulls, so I wanted to see how many were null, 314. So now all I'm going to do is take a look at what I'm updating. So I need to update the vehicle table. And again, I said I was updating on VIN. So what I'm doing here is I'm just looking at the data. I'm aligning the data. On the VIN number, I'm looking at the number, the GL number that's in the table currently, and then the GL number that's in the spreadsheet that I was given. So let's take a look at that. We're not updating anything yet. We're just looking at what's changed, okay? So I've already run the update. That's why these are all these are all matching now. But when I first went through here, these GL numbers that were in the table were different. And then I noticed there were some cases where the actual VIN in the vehicle table could be a duplicate. So that's what this query is doing. I like to look at data before I actually run updates, just so I know what's going on. Okay, so now, I can look at those particular rows in the vehicle table that had the duplicates. I just got to get rid of that extra comma. So I can see what so I see there's a difference in the vehicle codes. So that's that. Now we're ready to go about and run the update. But before we do that, I'm going to save the data. And so I'm going to change this to today's date. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the data. It's kind of that query I had up above. So I'm getting the primary key from the vehicle table. I'm getting the VIN. I'm getting the GL number. These are all coming from the existing vehicle table. And then I'm going to get the GL number from there. I'm going to name that old GL number. And then I'm going to get the staging table's GL number, and I'm going to call it new GL number. And all I'm doing here is creating a table with that mapping in it. So now I've got 16,261 rows in there. Now I'm ready to run the update. So I just need to change this to my new table name. And the other thing that this gives me the ability to roll back the changes because I've got the primary key from the table here. I've got the old value and the new value. So if I wanted to, I could actually go and roll back to the old GL number. So it's always a good idea to save the existing values when you're updating something if you can. So now we're just going to go and run this update. And it updated to 16,261 rows. So there you have it. You got a very common task. You get a spreadsheet from someone. They want to update data in the database. And this is how, basically the process to do it. You take that data. In this case, I had a Excel file that I was given. I saved it as a CSV and then I took that and loaded it into SQL Server, and then I created a staging table that allows me to roll back to the old values if I needed to, and then I run the update. So just thought I'd share. Talk to you guys later. Bye.